Hello and welcome to Newsweek South Asia, a program that exposes Pakistan's role and nexus in promoting global terrorism and its funding. Here are the headlines. 55 terrorists killed in back-to-back airstrike in Afghanistan. 3 terrorists killed, 1 soldier martyred in Pulwama gunfight. Slaughterer of students honored in Pakistan. And former Pakistani ambassador to US claims that Pakistan mainstreams terrorists. The Afghan security forces have launched a series of airstrikes on Taliban hideouts of its territory. The attack has killed up to 55 Taliban terrorists. Newsweek South Asia has a report.
Talibani terrorists in Afghanistan witnessed the most dreadful air attacks by Afghani forces this week. At least 55 militants have been killed in the series of airstrikes carried out by Afghan security forces. The military aircraft had hit Taliban hideouts in Aryub Zazai district of the eastern Paktia province, which killed at least 13 insurgents. It is reported that at least 20 Afghan civilians were also killed in an air raid targeting a Taliban commander in Afghanistan's eastern province of Kunar. The drone strikes had also destroyed a vehicle belonging to the Taliban and had badly damaged their bunkers.
Having a peaceful Afghanistan, it is very important that the Taliban is neutralized or brought down to the negotiating table, because without the participation of the Taliban, lasting peace would not be achievable in Afghanistan, and that all the forces, the United States, the NATO forces and others have also realized this. But on the other hand, apart from trying to get the Taliban to the negotiating table, the NATO forces and America, they have kept up their tempo of having airstrikes through their drones and neutralizing and eliminating all the important Taliban leaders who are around there. And similarly, in this context, they have had a very good, successful, I would say, December month, where they have been able to get a lot of these people, the top Taliban leadership, eliminated.
The third week of December brought a good success rate to Afghanistan security forces because this week itself 6 Taliban militants were killed in air shelling. The air attacks were carried out in the Daulatabad district of Nadan Faryab province. The dead militants also included Mullah Rasool, who is a Taliban shadow judge for the troubled Faryab province. In addition to these attacks, the Afghan security forces backed by aircraft have also targeted Taliban hideouts in Mewan district of the southern Kandahar province, killing up to 36 insurgents.
The biggest success has been in this December only, through the airstrikes and their drone strikes, where they have been able to eliminate a large number of these Taliban leaders. Now, the problem is that till this time, the Taliban leaders are not, these who are the hardliners are not eliminated, the others will not come down to the negotiating table. So, it is a catch-22 situation for America, NATO and others, that either you eliminate those people, then the Taliban will come to the negotiating table. If you cannot eliminate the senior leadership, the junior leadership will not be able to come. So, therefore, it is an all-out war against these people to have them eliminated at the earliest.
While the Taliban terrorists were being killed in Afghanistan, a simultaneous bilateral meeting was being held in Abu Dhabi between the US and Taliban officials. The meeting was aimed at bringing peace to Afghanistan. There were 2 proposals supporting this goal of the meeting. One was to implement a ceasefire in Afghanistan for 6 months at least. The other proposal mentioned the withdrawal of foreign troops from Afghanistan in the near future. However, the report says that the Taliban negotiators were resisting the ceasefire proposal. The reason being they felt it would damage their cause and help US and Afghan forces. It is indeed necessary to bring peace in Afghanistan because the sufferers of this bitter war are the innocent civilians of the country. The role of Pakistan in these attacks cannot be ignored as it continues to provide support to terror groups active in Afghanistan. These terror outfits, which have been causing mayhem in the state of Afghanistan, have a strong connection with neighboring Pakistan. Pakistan has been accused by the Afghan authorities for being the provider of resources, training and weapons to carry out attacks to destabilize Afghanistan.
The Russian forces, once they were driven out, the Americans and the NATO forces now had to fight the Taliban. Now, Taliban was created by Pakistan, by the ISI, and Hamid Gul is their creator because he was the leader, he was the commander of ISI at that time. And now their complete support, men, material, money is through Pakistan. Pakistan is not ready to let the Taliban go and tell them that you sit down on the negotiating table so that peace is brought there, because Pakistan wants a larger role for itself, and also it wants to milk America of all the money that it can.
Afghan government has intensified air attacks recently, and according to various security reports, the airstrikes, especially overnight operations, have proved effective in defeating the anti-government militants. The airstrikes are majorly targeting several senior Taliban commanders and are backed by the US advisors and air power. Afghanistan has been a long-standing battleground between the USA and the Taliban terrorists since 2001 and is eagerly looking forward to a brighter future in the upcoming days.
The Indian security forces have been retaliating against the Pakistan-backed terrorists who have been causing mayhem in the Kashmir Valley. Recently, 3 terrorists belonging to the Hizbul Mujahideen were gunned down. Newsweek South Asia has a report.
The Indian security forces began a cordon and search operation in South Kashmir after receiving information about the whereabouts of terrorists from the Hizbul Mujahideen being located there. An encounter soon broke out and resulted in deaths of 3 terrorists belonging to the group. The security forces also faced the problem when several brainwashed youth began pelting stone, which was not only disrupting the operation, but as the army said, the crowd was coming dangerously close, which compelled the forces to open fire, leading to the deaths of 7 such stone pelters. A soldier from the Indian forces also lost his life in the gun battle.
The government, the police and army and security forces have often issued advisories, posted posters in different places asking people not to throng to the encounter sites because it can have casualties, it can have injuries, and it can also disrupt the operations, and it can also ensure that the militants can escape from the spot. Even then, the civilians and some sympathizers, overground workers of militants who are actually luring people, instigating them to come to the encounter site so that they disrupt the encounters.
The 3 terrorists who were killed in the encounter have been identified as Adnan alias Tahir Hizbi, Bilal Ahmed alias Hashim, and Zahoor Ahmed was on the wanted list of the security forces since July this year, as he was part of the Indian Army before going rogue. Seizing the opportunity of causing more problems in the valley, the Pakistani-funded separatist groups led by Saeed Ali Shah Gilani, Mirwayaz Umar Farooq and Mohammad Yasin Malik called for strikes across the valley. This led to a total shutdown across the summer capital Srinagar. Business establishments and markets remained closed and streets wore a deserted look as people chose to stay indoors in response to the shutdown. Security was also stepped up in the city to prevent any untoward incident. As forced by its habit, Pakistan again tried to interfere into the internal affairs of India as Imran Khan, the Pakistan Prime Minister, tweeted to raise the issue at an international platform. Both India and Pakistan, which became independent almost at the same time, saw the countries going in 2 separate directions, with New Delhi managing to climb the ladder of development Islamabad has turned into a country which is a bankrupt state, now living on the mercy of China.
The statements coming out from their side, I think it demonstrates the insincerity and duplicity. You see, I think what we have been demanding is that you should stop allowing your territory to be used for terror groups and terrorists who are operating from your soil and exporting to other countries. No action is being taken on that. On the other hand, I think they have sometimes the gumption to comment on the internal affairs of a neighboring country. I think it will be better if they mind their own business and look at the affairs, internal affairs, which is in quite a mess in their own country. They should look at that.
Since India's development had always caused envy to Pakistan, they continue to create disturbance in Jammu and Kashmir since 1989. Jammu and Kashmir is India's only Muslim majority state. Jammu and Kashmir, often called heaven on earth, has been subjected to violence and bloodshed owing to Pakistan's attempt of creating a proxy war in the valley. The Pakistan Army and the Inter-Services Intelligence have been providing training to militants and terrorist outfits to infiltrate into Jammu and Kashmir.
Pakistan had recently organized an observance on the 4th anniversary of the dreadful Peshawar school attack. But as always, Pakistan could not keep itself away from attracting wrong publicity. Pakistan had invited Ehsanullah Ehsan, the renowned Taliban commander, as the chief guest in the remembrance ceremony. Newsweek South Asia has a report.
Every day, Pakistan comes up with something brand new, which never fails to shock the world. This time, Pakistan invited Ehsanullah Ehsan as the chief guest of an event which was organized in the memory of Peshawar Army School attack. Ehsanullah Ehsan is a Taliban commander who shares association with the terror group Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. This was the same terrorist group which had attacked the Peshawar Army School in December 2014 that had killed 148 people.
Around 4 years back, more than 150 school children, young school children, were massacred. And what has happened? And this was done by TTP, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. And today, when the 4th anniversary is being commemorated, and these parents of these children are still seeking justice, the chief guest or the state guest at this particular function was Ehsanullah Ehsan, who has remained a spokesperson of TTP and who still is part of TTP in an unofficial manner. And it's literally hypocrisy, and that's what Pakistan government is doing for its own, towards its own local people.
Pakistan Army had arranged a ceremony in the Army Public School in Peshawar on the 4th anniversary of the tragic attack. The ceremony was organized in memory of those students and the school staff who had lost their lives in the deadly school attack. But the presence of Ehsanullah Ehsan in the ceremony gave rise to a new controversy. It is a controversy that has again exposed the double standards of Pakistan. Ehsanullah Ehsan was invited as a chief guest in remembrance ceremony, which was also attended by the Pakistan Army Chief General Bajwa and Prime Minister Imran Khan.
What happens is that whenever you invite such like terrorists who have been closely associated with various incidents within the country or within the region, the local people or the common civilians literally feel threatened also, and in a way backstabbed. And this also tells that the way the Pakistani government and the Pakistani intelligentsia is behaving, their army is behaving, and it sends very strong signals to its own people that you are not wanted, you are nobody for us, we don't care about you, we actually are only worried about our own agenda, are politicizing our own facts, and that is what a government is not elected for. Governments are there for the betterment or economic upliftment or educational upliftment for its own people and the common masses.
There is a famous saying that as you sow, so shall you reap. Pakistan's story seems to be something similar to that. The Peshawar school attack was self-manifested attack by Pakistan. Pakistan's land is known for cultivating terrorists and terror groups. It does not only provide its land to terrorists but even funds and facilitates Taliban terrorist groups who have their base in Afghanistan. The state-sponsored terrorism in Pakistan is eating its own kids. And now, instead of regretting and rectifying its mistakes, Pakistan has stooped to so low that it is honoring the terrorist who was part of the mass killing of children.
This Ehsanullah Ehsan, the spokesperson of TTP, who had surrendered, who had created that sham surrender in 2017, and then he again went back and joined TTP, and now he's trying to enter into politics. And when such like people are promoted by the state, by the government, by the local intelligentsia, actually common masses feel that there is no security for them, and they also feel the fact that this is probably the right way to go. So everybody feels that being part of the terrorist organization or being part of a militant organization and such like organizations which are killing common people or which are killing young children is a good thing, it's the best way to get into limelight. So that sends a lot of signal within the society, very wrong signals are sent within the society, and people always move towards such like things.
Ehsanullah Ehsan was the spokesperson of the terror group Tehreek-e-Taliban. A squad of suicide bombers from Tehreek-e-Taliban, a militant outfit of Pakistan, was responsible for the Peshawar Army School attack. It is an umbrella group of armed forces that had been fighting the Pakistani state since 2007. Following the attack, the terror group claimed responsibility for the assault. In a statement, the Pakistan Taliban claimed the children were legitimate targets because they were studying at a military-run school. Pakistan has showcased its highly insensitive attitude towards the victims of the attack by inviting Ehsanullah Ehsan.
Pakistan mainstreaming terrorists is now a known fact. In the recently concluded Conference on South Asia Against Terrorism and for Human Rights held in Washington, D.C., the Pakistani delegates have openly indicated that Pakistan is involved into mainstreaming of terrorists. Newsweek South Asia has a report.
Pakistani terrorism has become a universal global truth. It is known all over the world that Pakistan not only provides resources and funds to terrorism, but also trains and shelters some of the world's most dreaded terrorists. For years, Pakistan has managed to hide these facts from various international agencies, but recently, former Pakistan ambassador Hussain Haqqani has revealed that Pakistan is openly mainstreaming its terror outfits. The freedom and status of Hafiz Saeed in Pakistan is one of the biggest proofs that tell the story of mainstreaming of terrorists in Pakistan.
The mainstreaming of terrorists in Pakistan is also hurtful to Pakistan's image. It's a reality that hurts our image. It constitutes Pakistan bashing, in my opinion, when we allow Hafiz Saeed, who has been defined as a terrorist by the international community, we allow him to operate freely in the country. But Asia Bibi, who has been set free by the Supreme Court of Pakistan, cannot find freedom and has to hide till she can find asylum somewhere else in the world.
In the latest edition of South Conference held in Washington, D.C., the Pakistani delegates bashed Pakistan for using its land for ideological wars rather than developmental projects. These ideological debates are nothing but a showcase of Pakistan's focus on ideological differences and its use to ignite the flame of terrorism along with mainstreaming it. Terrorists like Hafiz Saeed not only roam freely in Pakistan but also give out hate speeches based on false ideologies to sustain their hold on the vulnerable Pakistani citizens.
At a time when other Asian countries are economically booming, when they are becoming centers of innovation and technology, Pakistan is mired in ideological debates. And those debates essentially are aimed at trying to get Pakistan not to be part of the 21st century, but to pull it back into some era of imagined glory in the past.
The former ambassador also went on to recall the dreadful memories of Peshawar Army School attack on its 4th anniversary. He emphasized the need for creating a safe environment for school children. He even went on to blame Pakistan for its cultivation of terrorists, which has ultimately resulted in self-destruction of Pakistan. Pakistan's double standards are exposed when we see that at one side Pakistan severely punishes people and groups from other religions who practice blasphemy. And on the other side, it has utterly failed to restrict terror outfits who are flourishing on its land in the name of preaching extremist Islam through violence and bloodshed.
And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We will be back next week with more news, views and analysis from the subcontinent. Meanwhile, do keep writing to us at nwsa@anin.com. This is Surbhi Sharma signing off on the behalf of entire production team of Newsweek South Asia. Goodbye and take care.